Imagine looking at a satellite feed of the Hormuz coastline. Everything seems static until the ground itself ripples like a disturbed pond. No cinematic fireball, no towering mushroom cloud, just a sudden, sickening shudder of granite. This isn't your grandfather's carpet bombing. This is the sound of the silent crash. On March 17, 2026, Iranian radar operators were hunting for ghosts, bracing for the signature of a B-2 Spirit. Instead, they saw a few lonely F-15E Strike Eagles. By the time they realized the threat, it was already 50 meters underground. The secret? A 5,000-pound titanium-tipped thank you note from Boeing. The GBU-72/B Advanced 5K Penetrator. As CENTCOM just posted on X U.S., Anti forces have successfully neutralized Iranian anti-ship cruise missile batteries that were strangling the world's energy arteries. We are talking about the Strait of Hormuz, a 21-mile wide choke point where 20% of global oil flows. Historically, this stretch of water has been a graveyard for ambitions, from the tanker war of the 80s to Operation Praying Mantis. But today, the stakes are higher. Iran tried to turn these mountains into an unsinkable missile carrier. President Trump's response: they wanted a wall. We gave them a hole. The administration's stance is clear. If you block the world's gas station, the U.S. will remodel your basement permanently. In Tehran, General Hossein Salami reportedly called the strike a cowardly violation, citing massive structural collapses in the IRGC's missile cities. According to reports from the war zone, this marks the combat debut of the GBU-72. Proving that in 2026, hiding under a mountain is just providing the U.S. Air Force with a pre-dug grave. Did you know? The Strait of Hormuz is only 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, roughly the distance of a morning jog for a marathoner. But beneath the sun-scorched limestone of Keshem Island, there is a different world. For decades, Iran has bored kilometers of reinforced tunnels, housing a terrifying arsenal of Noor and Qadr anti-ship missiles. Tehran believed these missile cities were their insurance policy, an immortal fortress that could turn the Persian Gulf into a lake of fire at a moment's notice. They felt untouchable until last week. The genius of the GBU-72/B isn't just that it hits hard, it's that it plays the choke point game better than the Iranians. According to analysis from the war zone and Al Jazeera, the US didn't need to vaporize every single missile inside the mountain. They just had to turn the exits into rubble. Think of it like this: if you have 1,000 Ferraris in an underground garage, but someone welds the door shut with 5,000 pounds of high explosive steel, you don't have a fleet. You have a very expensive scrap metal collection. In Washington, President Trump was blunt during his latest briefing. They spent billions digging holes. We spent a fraction of that to seal the lids. They're not missile cities anymore. They're high-tech catacombs. Very sad for them. Very good for the price of oil. Meanwhile, Admiral Alireza Tangsiri of the IRGC Navy reportedly admitted to unprecedented structural failures, as the shockwaves from the GBU-72 didn't just dent the bunkers, they caused internal mountain slips that buried the launch crews alive. Politically, the message is a sledgehammer. Iran's area denial strategy has a 5,000-pound expiration date. The 2026 reality is simple. In the chess match of the Middle East, the US just took the king's castle and turned it into a tomb. Why didn't the US just drop the mother of all bombs, or the 30,000-pound GBU-57 MOP? Simple. Logistics and elegance. The MOP is a beast that requires a B-2 stealth bomber, essentially bringing a semi-truck to a knife fight. In the cluttered, high-tension airspace of 2026, the US needed a surgical blade that could be carried by the workhorse of the fleet. Enter the GBU-72/B, a 5,000-pound middleweight champion that gives an F-15E the punching power of a heavy bomber. If the GBU-31, 2,000 pounds, is a sledgehammer and the GBU-57 is a wrecking ball, the GBU-72/B is a high-velocity drill. Its secret isn't just weight, it's materials science. The casing is forged from a classified ultra-hard steel alloy designed to survive a supersonic impact with reinforced concrete without shattering. But the real magic happens in the brain of the bomb, the smart fuse. As General David W. Alvin, Air Force Chief of Staff, recently noted, we aren't just dropping steel, we are dropping computers that happen to be very heavy. This smart fuse uses an accelerometer to count layers. It doesn't explode when it hits the mountain. It waits. It feels the vibration of the first layer of rock. Ignore. The second layer of reinforced concrete. Ignore. It only triggers when it senses the void of the third floor, the exact room where the missiles are prepped. President Trump summed up this 2026 doctrine perfectly. Why destroy the whole mountain when you can just delete the bad guys inside? It's efficient, it's lethal, and it's very, very smart. We're saving money on explosives while getting better results. That's winning. From a military standpoint, the GBU-72/B has turned Iran's impenetrable bunkers into nothing more than expensive underground acoustic chambers for a 2.5-ton explosion. This isn't just another Tuesday in the Persian Gulf. By deploying the GBU-72/B now, in the heat of the 2026 Iran conflict, Washington is sending a message that is louder than the explosion itself. Following the recent strikes targeting the inner circle of the supreme leader, Tehran thought their missile cities were the ultimate hide-and-seek champions. They were wrong. This is a clear signal to Fordow and Natanz. If we can turn a 30-meter deep missile battery into a gravel pit using a standard F-15, your 100-meter deep nuclear centrifuges are officially on the to-do list. And military analysts at The Aviationist are calling this the democratization of the bunker buster. For decades, deep penetration was a boutique service provided only by the B-2 stealth bomber, the equivalent of hiring a private jet to deliver a pizza. But with the GBU-72/B, every F-15E Strike Eagle in the theater is now a mountain killer. We've moved from high-cost stealth to high-volume destruction. President Trump made the geopolitical stakes crystal clear in his latest address. We showed them that deep isn't deep enough. They thought they could hide behind 100 feet of rock while they threatened the world. Well, the rock didn't listen to them, and neither did we. We're not playing games with their nuclear fantasies anymore. Peace through strength or peace through, well, you saw the satellite footage. Secretary of State Marco Rubio added that the economic impact of unclogging the strait has already stabilized global markets, even as the IRGC reels from what he termed terminal structural embarrassment. In the 2026 landscape, the U.S. has proven that area denial is a myth if your enemy has a bomb that can count floors. The era of the tunnel rat is over. The era of the mountain shredder has begun. The smarter the weapon, the more complacent the human. Behind the flashy tech numbers is the price paid in blood by those who have no part in the war. As much as we marvel at the GBU-72/B's ability to count floors, 2026 has taught us a brutal lesson. A 5,000-pound scalpel is only as precise as the hand or the algorithm guiding it. While the Pentagon celebrates surgical strikes, Amnesty International has released a damning report on the Shajareh Tayyebe school incident. It's the classic 2026 nightmare. The AI targeting suite flagged the building as an IRGC command node based on outdated thermal signatures and intercepted pings. In reality, it was a basement sheltering families. When the GBU-72 decided it had reached the third floor, it didn't find missiles, it found civilians. In Washington, the political fallout is a polarized mess. President Trump, never one to mince words, defended the technology while shifting the blame. We have the best AI, the most beautiful algorithms ever seen. But sometimes the deep state bureaucrats feed the machine garbage data. You put garbage in, you get a mess out. It's a tragedy, a total disaster. But we have to win. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs, but I want better eggs. Meanwhile, Amnesty's Secretary General Agnes Callamard has called for an immediate human-in-the-loop mandate, arguing that the U.S. is outsourcing the morality of murder to a black box. From a military standpoint, this is more than a PR nightmare. It's a strategic hole. If you vaporize a Cotter missile, you win the day. If you vaporize a classroom because your AI had a glitch, you've just recruited the next generation of insurgents. In 2026, the greatest threat to a smart war isn't a lack of firepower. It's the arrogance of believing our machines can't be wrong. The White Death doesn't come with a roar. It comes with a whisper of cracking granite. Imagine you're an Iranian conscript 50 meters deep. You're told the mountain is your shield, that your radar is your eyes. Then, without a single beep from the early warning system, the ceiling simply opens. No warning, no chance to pray, just the sudden realization that your fortress is actually your coffin. In 2026, we aren't just seeing the destruction of hardware, we are witnessing the birth of bunker claustrophobia. It's a specialized form of psychological fracture. When the deepest, most reinforced place on Earth, your safe zone, becomes a potential trap, the will to fight evaporates. As one former U.S. PSYOP officer put it, the GBU-72/B doesn't just destroy reinforced concrete, it destroys the very concept of safety. We want every IRGC technician to look at a ceiling and wonder if it's about to fall on their head. The tactical brilliance here is the high-altitude stealth of the F-15E. By dropping these 5,000-pound monsters from extreme altitudes, the Strike Eagle stays comfortably above the reach of Iran's short-range air defenses and man-pads. To the guys on the ground, the sky is empty until the ground starts screaming. It's the ultimate powerless feeling. President Trump leaned into this during a recent rally. They're living in holes, folks. Very deep, very dark holes. They think they're tough because they hide behind rocks. But we have a rock shredder. They're terrified. They're quitting. Many people are saying the Iranian crews are just walking away from the batteries because they don't want to be buried alive. And frankly, who can blame them? It's a bad situation for them, a very great situation for us. In the 2026 conflict, the GBU-72/B has turned Iran's missile cities into a psychological liability. If your soldiers are too scared to enter the tunnels, the missiles inside might as well be museum exhibits. If the US has super hard swords, does Iran have super tough armor? The answer lies in a material you wouldn't expect: smart concrete. We aren't talking about the stuff used for your backyard patio. In 2026, Tehran, with a little help from their friends in the East, has mastered ultra-high performance concrete, UHPC. This isn't just cement. It's a high-tech cocktail of steel microfibers and specialized polymers, making it 10 times stronger than standard concrete. It's essentially flexible steel that doesn't shatter under impact. It's the military equivalent of putting a Kevlar vest on a mountain. To counter this super armor, the US designed the GBU-72/B with a very specific slender profile. It's all about high school physics. Pressure P equals F over A. By keeping the contact area A tiny and the force F of a 5,000-pound falling object massive, the pressure at the tip becomes astronomical. It doesn't just hit the wall, it flows through it like a hot needle through butter. But Iran is getting clever. Reports indicate they are now sandwiching their bunkers, using layers of compressed sand and massive industrial springs between UHPC slabs to dampen the shockwaves. It's like trying to punch a guy who is standing behind 5 mattresses. According to recent intelligence, they are even reinforcing nuclear silos with compressed iron ore to confuse the GBU sensors. President Trump recently mocked these efforts. They're mixing iron and sand into their walls. They're building a beach underground. It doesn't matter. You can mix it with gold, you can mix it with diamonds. Our smart steel finds the gap. They're playing 1940s construction games against 2026 physics. We have the best magnets, the best drills, and the best pilots. Their smart concrete is about to become very dumb gravel. General Michael Kurilla of CENTCOM was more clinical, noting that while the armor is evolving, the kinetic energy of a GBU-72 at terminal velocity is simply a force of nature that no amount of masonry can truly negotiate. The race is on. High-speed masonry versus high-velocity steel. How much does a GBU-72 cost? And how much does a missile silo cost? In the high-stakes game of 2026, the winner isn't always the one with the biggest gun, it's the one with the biggest bank account. We are looking at a masterclass in asymmetric economics. A single GBU-72/B costs the Pentagon somewhere in the neighborhood of several $100,000. Sounds expensive, right? Until you realize that boring a hole 50 meters into a granite mountain and lining it with high-tech sensors and shock absorbers costs Iran millions of dollars and years of backbreaking labor. Every time an F-15E releases one of these 5K penetrators, the US is effectively using pocket change to delete a prime real estate asset that took Tehran a decade to build. It's like using a $5 coupon to cancel a $5,000 debt. Then there's the delivery fee. In 2026, efficiency is king. While operating a B-2 Spirit costs about $130,000 per hour, that's a very expensive Uber for a bomb. But the F-15E, it's a relative bargain at $27,000 per hour. By democratizing bunker-busting power to the F-15 fleet, the US can sustain this campaign indefinitely without bankrupting the Treasury. President Trump hammered this point home during his Prosperity Through Power Summit. We're winning on the spreadsheet, folks. We're using very smart, very affordable bombs to destroy very, very expensive tunnels. It's the greatest return on investment in the history of warfare. They spend 10 years digging. We spend 10 minutes flying. You do the math. We have the money, we have the steel, and they have a lot of rubble. However, there's a catch: the supply chain. And these super swords require high-strength steel and tungsten, materials that are becoming the new gold in 2026. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth recently warned that while we have the cash, we need the ore. Our ability to outbuild the enemy's ability to dig is limited only by our industrial base. The question for 2027 isn't just who has the better bomb, But who can keep the factory lines moving longer? The smoke has cleared over the Hormuz coastline, but the landscape of modern warfare has shifted forever. The GBU-72/B didn't just break concrete, it broke a decades-old military doctrine. For years, the bunker was the ultimate cheat code for middle-market powers like Iran, a way to hide expensive toys from a superior air force. But as of 2026, those invincible fortresses have been officially downgraded to concrete traps. In the eternal race between the armor and the sword, America's 5,000-pound titanium-tipped blade just scored a decisive walk-off home run. We've proven that you don't need a billion-dollar stealth bomber to kill a mountain. You just need a rugged F-15E and a bomb that's smart enough to count. President Trump summed up the new status quo with his signature flair. We told them the mountains wouldn't save them. They didn't believe us. Now they're sitting in the dark, wondering if the next sound they hear is a knock-knock from Boeing. It's a new world, a very safe world for our allies, and a very scary one for people who like to hide in holes. We're bringing warfare back to the surface, and frankly, we're doing it better than anyone ever thought possible. Winning. But is this really the end of the tunnel war? History suggests that for every sword, a new shield eventually emerges. Whether it's deeper digging, carbon nanotube reinforced walls, or advanced electronic jamming to blind the GBU's brain, the cycle will continue. Do you believe this is the final nail in the coffin for subterranean tactics? Or is Iran already working on a way to out-deep the US Air Force? Is the age of the missile city over, or just evolving? Let us know what you think in the comments below. This is Axiom Military signing off.